It was a crazy week in the NBA, and we're going to go through this recap. Let's look through all these games. We got everything set up here. Monday, 325. We had a couple good games between the Hawks and Celtics, as well as the Kings and 76ers. So let's talk about the Celtics and the Hawks real quick, because I do have a top performer this game. It's going to be Jason Tatum. Now, I know that they lost, but I did think that he had the best game out of everybody. And a nice 37 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. But Austin, what's your take on the Celtics, man? I want to know, because I mean they did drop 2 games to the Hawks this week. We'll
Two
get a
back
little
to back.
further. We'll get further on, and we'll talk about that next game. But I mean, do you think they're still the favorite coming out the East for sure? Like, I mean, I think they definitely are.
Yeah, I think it's undoubtedly they're definitely still the
Hmm.
favorites.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
if it showed if this week showed anything, is that there's they're not unbeatable. Essentially, the Celtics aren't unbeatable, and if they matched up with the Hawks in the first round, I mean they have some matchup issues. The Hawks, as up and down as they are, they definitely have a lot of versatility, and they can pose some matchup issues in the playoffs. But again, I think it comes down to just showed that the Celtics are beatable, and as unbeatable as they looked all season long, um, you put in the right effort, and I think that again, it comes down to having other guys that can get it done, and you got to really just hope that there's a few players in the Celtics roster that aren't playing up to par per se, because
Oh
yeah, they
yeah,
got a lot of pieces.
right. Now I want to ask you too. If anybody takes out Boston, who do you think is going to be in the playoffs? If somebody does do it,
Who's good?
who's
Who's
going to
gonna
take
do it?
out
Who's
Boston?
gonna
Like,
do it?
is it going to be Miami
I
again?
mean,
I see
that
those Heat jerseys in
there's
the
a
background.
team.
We already know what's up.
There's a certain team that's had their number. I think
Nah, they
I think
definitely
that
have.
if there's anybody the Celtics don't want to see, I do probably think it's the Heat. I think that's the number one team they don't want to see. I mean, Joe Mazzulla is a great coach, and I'd say he probably, out of the rest of the Eastern Conference, he probably has an edge on most coaches outside of Spo. So I think Spo is the real problem. Like, they really don't want to see the Heat come playoff time. I know the Heat, we've been up and down like
He's one of
crazy
those
this year.
teams that just nobody really wants to see him come playoff time.
Nah, I mean,
They're really just like that. But also, just one more thing before we move on to the next game. The Hawks beat them twice without Trey Young too.
without
Like
Trey.
DeJounte leading the way. So definitely big wins for Atlanta. I mean, in my opinion, if they saw Boston in a 7-game series, I think they definitely lose. But like you said, though, Boston isn't unbeatable. I think that they have their woes, and I think that they are a team that lives and dies by the three.
Right.
And I think also Jason Tatum's just had a lot of moments in the playoffs where it's like, is he going to show up? Is he not going to show up? Same thing for Jaylen Brown. So I think they're definitely the favorites to come out the East. But would I be shocked if they lost? I would not be. To be completely honest, I would not be.
Would it be?
But let's move on to the Sixers and Kings. 96 or Kings wins 108 to 96 on last Monday. And Domantas Sabonis, now his points don't jump off the page, but another triple double for this man. He's been having a phenomenal season, very low key season as well. And he's one of those guys though that can just impact the game without really having to do so much in the scoring department, which really is a big factor for me when I am rating Sabonis. He's just an impact kind of guy. I mean, it's very Jokic-esque that he only takes 5 shots, but still gets 11 points, 13 boards, 10 assists, gets a block, and they win the game. So solid all around the board. I mean, what's your thoughts on Sabonis?
Mr. Triple Double. I mean, you touched a lot of it. He does everything really well. I mean, outside of the defensive end, I would say is his
The
biggest
defense is so
deficit.
bad.
Yeah, outside of his defense, which we'll give him some slack because he does everything else really well. He just works so perfectly as that hub. He really, because a guy like De'Aaron Fox, he's got one pace, and it's fast, and it's fast, and it's fast, and it's
Right.
fast. And Domantas Sabonis being the hub and getting to control the ball a little bit, I think evens out the pace of that the Kings play with. Really helps them get to some good shots. And like you said, I mean, the rebounding, he doesn't need to score to put up that type of impact. So I'm a big Sabonis fan. Again, he missed a triple double, most triple doubles of the season. I want to say he's actually approaching a double double record as well, like a season record
Yeah, I
for
believe
most double
so.
doubles in the year.
I think he's already
He
like
broke it, right?
surpassed it. Yeah,
Right,
I'm
right.
pretty
Yeah, he
sure
just
he
broke
broke
it.
it. So it's definitely having an impressive season to not be voted as an all-star, which is pretty wild. But
Right.
my thing with Sabonis is, like obviously we talked about a defense. Defense is really bad, but I'm just, is he going to show up this year? Because he really disappointed last year in the playoffs. Like Kevon Looney sunned him. Like, I mean, that was bad. Like Warriors in general, just between Kevon Looney and then Draymond defending him, like he just did not look good. And I think that was a huge downfall for the Kings for their best player or second best player, however you want to, their 1A, 1B type of thing between him and Fox, but he just didn't show up.
Right. Was that his first
But
playoffs?
I want to say it was at least as like a lead guy.
Right,
I
right,
definitely, at least as like a lead guy, it was definitely his first playoff. But let's go back over here real quick to the recap. So let's just get a good visual here of all the games, right? So Tuesday, we got the Bucks Lakers with a crazy game. I mean, that was a phenomenal game. Anthony Davis. I'm about to pull up his stats here momentarily. He was a top performer as well as Giannis. Anthony Davis with like the game-saving block. That was really impressive game from him. And then the Mavericks pretty much destroy the Kings. Keep going. We had the Clippers, 76ers. That was a close game as well. Controversial call at the end, by the way, with Paul George. Right. Did you think that was a foul? Before I get to the top performers, did you think that was a foul?
I mean, to me, it looked like a foul. It definitely looked like a foul to me. I mean, obviously, in that late game situation, it's tough.
I was gonna ask.
Do
you think they called that? Yeah.
No, it's got to be blatant. I think it was on the fence. Like I think
really.
That.
Really, think to me it looked kind of blatant, but I was also like you said, in that situation, I don't know if the ref is going to call that.
Right.
They're just going to swallow the whistle, kind of let it happen. But the NBA did come out and say it was a foul. So
I was about to say, I wasn't on the fence about it being a foul. I thought it was definitely a foul. I was on the fence about like that was a 50-50 whether they called it or not.
Right.
And clearly they didn't. Right. That was ball game right there.
Yeah, definitely. So now that we've taken a look at all the games, we can see the rest of them here. Let's go through the top performers real quick. We looked at JT, we looked at Sabonis. Got AD, I brought him up 34, 23, 2 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks. I mean, look, when AD is in this type of mode, man, he really is just one of the best players in the world. But, obviously the thing with KD is just the consistency. Is he going to bring it every night? But, I mean, also when when AD is playing like this, where do you put him?
Are we talking echelon of the whole NBA?
Yeah, we're just talking the whole NBA. Like when AD is the real Anthony Davis, like where is he at?
Because it's tough. Because like Anthony Davis's peak is probably top 5 right now. It's probably top 5 because he's doing everything on the offensive end. I mean, look at those rebounding numbers. But then he's a defensive player of the year candidate who can score with the best of them. Who can do everything.
He should have won one
end.
by now. Let's be honest. He should have won one.
That's a different conversation.
A lot of people say he's the best defender in the league.
But I mean, you even saw it last year when people were putting, when he had that stretch, people were putting Anthony Davis top 5.
Oh yeah, he was playing like it. He was
right. So I mean, that's the thing though. He can't bring it every night, which is the sad part. But when he brings it, there's only a handful of guys in the NBA that do it better.
Right. Like when he's playing like this, man, like you said, I mean, he can rival top 5 when he's playing like this. But that's the thing. He don't bring it every night. But another big man in the league, Giannis, also went, back and forth with AD this game. I had to put him on here, 29 points, 21 boards, 11 assists. So a monster triple-double from him. Do we feel like Giannis's season is kind of going under the radar this year? I mean,
100%,
right? 100%.
I mean, look at those numbers, and he wasn't even barely talked about for that game. I mean, they lost, but
right, exactly. But the thing is like, I understand the MVP race has been mainly just between Jokic, Shea, and Luka.
Right.
But Giannis's name is like, I know he's been in the top 5 the whole time, but no one has really been like, oh yeah, like Giannis needs to win it. And he's been getting this type of, I don't even know. I mean, I understand Jokic is a monster. Luka's having a crazy season, but it's almost very LeBron-esque of where we've just become so accustomed to Giannis being Giannis and putting up these insane numbers. I know that the Bucks have kind of been up and down a little bit since getting Doc Rivers, but as of like after All-Star break, They've been really good. They've been one of the better defenses in the league. I mean, they've been there. I actually also believe that they have one of the best records against teams above 500,
Above
if I'm not
500, right?
mistaken.
I
I
do
think
believe
so.
so.
Yeah. So I mean, they're going to be playoff ready. And I mean, I think that he is having an under the season radar. I mean, another 30-point per game average, like 13 boards, 5-6 assists on 60% true shooting. I mean, he's just unbeatable, honestly.
I think the Giannis thing really comes down to the acquisition of Damian Lillard, that people just had such higher expectations of what this season was going to look like, that
Yeah.
now that they haven't met those expectations, or at least they did it, they're rounding out, like you said, but them having not been as good as people thought they were going to be, I think that's what's having people, have a little bit of hesitancy for the Giannis MVP combo. I mean,
Right.
number two, that's putting you in the running of MVP for sure, the 2 seed. But the way they got there has been it's been a rough one for them,
For sure.
and
But
I just got one more question on the
yeah.
Bucks while we're on there for you.
What you got?
Now that they're coming into form a bit, where do you what do you think the real chances are of the Bucks winning the championship, winning the East? Like, where are you at on the Bucks? Because they've underperformed, but they're still probably good enough to be right there. So where are you at on them?
Yeah, I'm not gonna count out Giannis Antetokounmpo. The thing with the Bucks is, yeah, they've been kind of up and down, but as I was saying before, they've been coming more to form now. The defense is looking a lot better, and I think that the Bucks realistically could definitely still win a championship this year. Even though I know a lot of people are counting them out, but I don't think that they're better than Boston. Like, just throughout the whole season, like, cohesiveness and chemistry, all that. It's just a different team. But I think if Damian Lillard can be Damian Lillard come playoff time, the matchup for him though against Boston is going to be tough. They got a lot of great perimeter defenders. Obviously, Drew defends him phenomenal. Like, every time Drew has played him, he's put the clamps on Dame. So I think that if they do end up facing each other in the Eastern Conference Finals, that I probably would take Boston, but I'm not going to count out the Bucks just yet. I do think that they can still go and win a championship, or at least get to the finals. I mean, because my winner, I still got Denver winning it all.
Same.
I think Denver's going back to back. But
I agree. I'm on Denver as well.
Let's move on to our next couple of ones. Luka with another phenomenal game, 28, 11, and 6. We spoke about Luka a lot on the last podcast, and now that we see his he took another jump in the MVP standings. So now he was at number 3. Or no, he went up to 2. Actually, he left Shea. So do you think that this is his MVP award, or is Jokic going to get it again? Because they've been winning a lot of games. The Mavericks are in the 5th seed right now.
Yeah, they've won out. I mean, how close are they to actually getting home court advantage? Is it in the realm of possibility? I don't think so, right? They're too far out.
Nah.
As good as he's been, and I mean, it's undeniable. He's been absolutely incredible. You look at this stat line right here, and this is pedestrian.
Yeah, this is pedestrian stat line for him. This is like, oh, he had an all right game.
Yeah, this is like, all right, he just showed up. He just showed up, and that's what he's going to average.
Yeah, like, so, I wasn't feeling it tonight.
On an individual player basis, I think he has been the most valuable player to his team this season. And it's kind of hard to even argue against that. But we all know that's not how the MVP award is handed out.
Well, I do think, though, over the last few years that it's been more so handed out that way. Now, obviously, we know that Jokic won it back in 21 when they were a 6 seed. Right. Then before that was Russ. And even the last couple times, Joel Embiid won it last year. He was a 4 seed. Dallas is at the 5th seed right now, and they still have time to win. Like, I think that the Mavericks are on pace for 48 wins this season. And then on top of that, that's going to be more. If they were to win 48 wins, it's the same amount of wins that Jokic got in 21. So my thought process on this is it's very reminiscent of that season. The Mavericks have had a ton of injuries. Kyrie's missed over 20 games. Lively's missed over 20 games. Maxi Kleber just got back recently. He missed like 35 plus games. Who else was it? There's been multiple. Oh, Exum has missed like 20 something plus games. There's been a ton of people on the roster have just been depleted. But Luka has remained consistent throughout. I think he's only missed like 8 games this year. So for someone who's had injury problems throughout his career so far, he's remained healthy. He's been way better defensively this year. He's still not great, obviously. He never will be, but he's been a lot more active on that end of the floor. And then, I mean, he's putting up a stat line that we haven't seen besides like probably Russ and on this efficiency. I mean, we're talking about he's basically averaging 34, 10, and 10 on like 60% true shooting. It's just he upped his 3-point percentage. He's way more efficient from the floor too. He's just unbelievable this year. And I think that he deserves the MVP award. I also think obviously Jokic does as well. But I mean, I'm not the type of guy to be like, oh, well, Jokic just got 2, so maybe we should just give it to Luka. Like, no, I think it should go to the MVP. But honestly, my vote this year, I'd put it on Luka. I would.
I respect it. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't, as much as I would like to see it happen because he deserves it.
If they finish a 4 seed, though, bro, you don't think so?
If they get into the top 4, if they can get into let's check the standings. Because if they get into the top 4,
we have the standings later, but I just want to double check because right now they are only 2 games behind the Clippers. They're the Mavericks right now 45-29, Clippers 47-27. So not many games left, but and that's my thing too with this whole seeding stuff is like, oh, well, the Clippers got the 4th seed, but the Dallas Mavericks got the 5th seed. Okay, but they're only 1 win apart. Like, what's the big difference? You know what I mean? Like, especially in the Western Conference, everybody's so close. They got 3. They're going to end up with damn near almost 4 or 5 50-win teams in the West. It's just so loaded.
Oh, yeah. No, the West is definitely
so much more
better
crazy.
than the East right now.
Yeah, but, you know,
I'm
going to move on to our next top performer, Paul George. Now, this game was the game right after that one, and nobody really shot particularly well this game. I think like the Clippers, I have it up here somewhere. I believe that the Clippers team shot like 44% from the floor, but they still were able to pull this out. It was like a blood match for this game. You know, in the Philadelphia 76ers also didn't shoot particularly well, but the Clippers pulled this out 108-107, and Kawhi Leonard, this is what we talked about earlier, or I'm sorry, Paul George, had the controversial call, the no call. So we kind of talked about that already. Let's keep it moving. Let's go on to, KD with a classic KD performance. An efficient 30 points on 12 of 20 shooting, 60% from the floor. They beat the favorites to win it all, Denver, and he outplayed Jokic. So phenomenal game from KD. Now, KD is another one where, you know, his season's kind of going under the radar, but the Suns have just been a mess. You know, like KD individually has been great. Suns have been a mess, though. They've been up and down all over the place. And let's move on to March 28th. Zion. Let's talk about the Pelicans a little bit because the Pelicans have actually been, I don't want to say surprising because they showed good promise last year. But Zion, you know, he hasn't been what we all thought he would be so far. But I know that I think he's lost like 25 pounds already. He's been playing really good as of recent. And the Pelicans have been balling. I mean, they are in the 6th seed now, so they're in the playoffs. How do we feel about Zion on the Pelicans? Like, what do you think they can realistically do in the playoffs?
I think the Pelicans are another one of those teams out west that people aren't going to want to see because they are loaded with talent. You know, Zion getting himself into shape is just going to be a problem for the rest of the league.
Sure.
But I mean, you know, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, those are 2 lethal scorers. And their defense has just really been incredible. I like their chances of at least getting who would their matchup be right now? Because I was gonna say I like their chances of getting out of the first round.
Now they would be playing. Hold on, let me pull up the standings one more time. So they're the 6th seed right now. They'd be playing the Timberwolves.
The T-Wolves. Yeah, I definitely not that I think they have they're the favorites over them.
I think that is a good matchup for them though, first round.
They definitely have a chance against the T-Wolves, who are another team that people are not, you know, I don't think people have faith in them at all.
I mean, they're so young still, as far as like, you know, Anthony Edwards being, I mean, you can argue whoever you want as the best player between him and Cat. I mean, most people are going to say Ant, but like Cat was having a really good season, but like the dog on that team is Anthony Edwards.
Right.
But,
for sure.
You know, we just got to see, because they're still young as far as like how long the team's been together with Cat and Rudy Gobert. Not necessarily like Cat's been in the league for a minute. Rudy's been in the league for a minute, but you know, I don't think many people have that much faith in him. People were shocked that they're even this good still. I thought it was kind of a fluke earlier in the season, but the fact that they've been able to maintain this speaks volumes. So, but Yeah, I agree with you. The Pelicans, I think they're a team that no one would really want to see like first round because it's not going to be an easy
Right.
4-0 sweep, no matter who it is. Even if like the Nuggets go up against them, like I think they're going to give them a
I
hard
was
time.
gonna
They're going to
say,
get games like where it's just tough. Like I think all the talent, the young talent that they got a lot of good defenders too. So yeah, the Pelicans, they can be a little bit scary. But let's move on to our next top performer, 29. We got AD again. Anthony Davis went for 24-15. This was against the Indiana Pacers. So the Lakers actually lost this game, lost 109-90. It was the first time this year that the Lakers lost to the Pacers. And Lakers just didn't play particularly well. LeBron kind of struggled. He only put up 12 shots, but he only finished with 16 points.
right.
D'Angelo Russell, he was terrible this game, unfortunately. 3 of 14, 21% from the floor. So that's pretty rough.
Says it right there.
AR also had a great game, but I could also probably put Siakam or Halliburton up there for top performers. Siakam 22 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. Halliburton 21, 8 and 8. That's a light game for him. But let's move on to our next top
I just wanted to
performer.
bring up one thing. Just I
Yeah,
mean,
what you got?
it's kind of off topic, but it is on topic. For the Indiana Pacers, this dude, start of the season, they came out scorching hot.
They
Tyrese
did.
Halliburton was on a burner. They were talking
Mm-hmm.
about he should be in the MVP discussion early
Yep.
on. After injury, he's came back and he just hasn't necessarily been his same
Not
self.
at all. Yeah.
What do you kind of attribute that to? Do you think it's more the injury? Do you think it's kind of teams figuring out the pace of the Pacers? It's a little punny, but
Yeah, no pun intended or pun intended. But I think it's probably maybe a little bit of both. Like I definitely think that the injury has taken a toll as far as like him getting back, but it could also be the fact that like some teams maybe are running a little bit more with them. Like the Pacers were just super hot early on. A lot of people making shots, people playing better than expected, and all this. So,
right.
and then obviously Tyrese Halliburton was playing like MVP level, so that was elevating the team a whole nother level. And I think after the injury, though, it's definitely has taken Tyrese some time to get back into his groove. So I want to attribute it more to the injury than anything else. But we'll see come playoff time how it, see if he gets a little bit better here again shortly. I do think that the Pacers, though, have a pretty bright future. So
Definitely.
I think Tyrese definitely, if he doesn't return back to how he was earlier in the year, but by this time next year, he's going to be probably in MVP talks, possibly at least like top 5, 6 guy in that, because I think he's got that much talent. Move on to Kyrie, who's been balling. Obviously he went from having the crazy left hand game winner from the other week, and now he's got just a signature vintage game. I mean, just pure efficiency, 30 points. Obviously he's a scorer. 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He gonna get that. He gonna get the buckets though. Field goal percentage almost 70%, 11 of 16. 3-point percentage of 60%, 3 of 5 from the field. What do we think about the Mavericks? Because I mean, we spoke a lot about Luka's MVP campaign, but the Mavericks in general, they're going to match up right now. They're the 5th seed, so if it ended like that, they're going to be playing
right?
the Clippers, who they actually have matched up with a
Your
lot in the
son.
playoffs. Yeah, and they have not been able to beat the Clippers yet. So how do we feel? Do you think that they beat them this year? With now that Luka actually has some more help, he's got Kyrie. Like, how are we feeling about the Mavericks?
Honestly, I really love the dynamic that Luka and Kyrie have. They don't argue over the ball. I love the other night, that game winner against Denver. Kyrie was like, I got this. Let me take the last shot. I'm gonna end it. And what he did, he went out and ended it. And they asked Luka in an interview, who's the lead dog? He said, I'm the Robin and he's the Batman. So they have no issues. And that's what I really love about their dynamic is they don't have any issues with letting the other guy shine, letting him be the one to take over the game. They love feeding the hot hand. And on top of all that, the rest of the moves they made at the deadline, they really got a few pieces that really, that they needed. And so I think they have a good chance come playoff time. I mean, Luka Magic, that guy is going to do
Luka
his
Magic,
thing.
man.
Luka
Yeah,
Magic.
he is.
And then Kyrie Irving, obviously we know he's got a track record of getting things done in the playoffs as well. So I think they have a good chance against the Clippers. The other thing about the Clippers too is I think come playoff time, the hierarchy could actually could become a bit of an issue with how many guys they have that could take the shot, take over the game, be the lead guy in that game.
For the
So
Clippers?
for the Clippers, yeah.
Yeah, I think that the Clippers are also kind of like how you're saying how Luka and Kyrie don't really butt heads or anything like that. I feel like it's the same thing with the Clippers though. Even though they got a lot of star powers on there, a lot of them know their role at this point in time. Like even Paul George is like, Kawhi, this is Kawhi's team. I have no problem being the number two. James Harden already knows like his role.
Yeah.
Russ obviously has been coming off the bench and all that. Like he's fine where he's at. So I think it's going to be a good matchup, though, for sure. I mean, it always is. I think Luka's probably going to go to average like 45 a series. I don't know what he has against the Clippers, but he continuously always destroys them.
Guess it does.
But will they get the dub? That is, I guess, an answer for another day. But Giannis, another top performance, 36, 16, and 8. I mean, we went over Giannis a little bit. I mean, obviously having a monster season, and we're not really talking about it as much as we should. We've definitely been asleep. But and then Jokic just last night, Sunday night, 26, 18, 16 on 61%. I mean, we talk about the best player in the league. It's this guy. It's this guy. Like, he is just on another level, though. I have to be honest. Like, how do you defend him? Seriously. Is there any way?
Yeah, nah, you really don't. You really don't, because he just is. He's got the pieces around him now that there's always a hand ready to take the shot. And when he's in control of the ball, he doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't try to do too much. He just is always making the right play and doing it at the highest level. So I mean, Nikola Jokic, yeah, he's definitely the best player in the league for me right now.
No,
and
100%.
they're the team to beat.
Yeah, the crazy thing about Jokic is I know that I've been vouching for Luka, and I still do, but like Jokic 100% also deserves it this year. And the crazy thing is if the tables didn't turn how it did last year, we could be talking about Jokic going for his 4th MVP in a row right now. Could you even imagine 4 in a row? Which is,
I mean, look at this doofy looking dude.
I know, it's just unreal, man. Like even the fact that now he's about to have 3 already. Like let me ask you this real quick, right? If he wins MVP again, which it's really seeming like it's gonna turn out that way, and he goes back-to-back rings, back-to-back Finals MVPs, where is he at all time already? We're talking about a 3-time MVP, talking about a 2-time champion with no other All-Star on his team, back-to-back Finals MVPs, some of the most ridiculous stat lines we've ever seen, like highest PR seasons. I mean, where is he at all the time?
I mean, that's a tough one to say because but he's teetering. He's teetering. Probably he might be right outside the top 10.
Well, let me ask you now, where is he right now? Where is he right now for you? Like
he's already top 20 for me.
Okay. I would have him like top 20.
He's top 20 for me, I would say.
Which is wild, bro, because he has just flown up the rankings. I mean, just his stretch, dude, his stretch is just ridiculous. Now, yeah, for me, if he wins his 3rd MVP, which I'm going to assume he does at this point, right? Let's say he wins his 3rd MVP and then they go back to back. And like, let's say they beat Boston or something in the finals and he wins Finals MVP again with another monstrous like 30-point playoff run. Yeah, he's probably going to be minimum like top 12, 13 is for me. And I think that this might sound crazy, but where is he going to be at for centers? Like, is there any chance like he could surpass a Shaquille O'Neal or Hakeem? Like, I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Because not that I say he's things, there,
but
right? But is it one of those things though? Like, I want to ask you this because for example, I'm going to use like a Curry and Kobe, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say like Curry again, like won a championship or sometime at some point. Like people are going to start saying, "Oh, like Curry's got 5 rings now, like 2 Finals MVPs, like 2." He's over Kobe. But like as a player, we're not going to be like, "Oh yeah, like he was better than Kobe." Because I think most people would say that Kobe Bryant as a basketball player was better than Steph Curry all around, like on both ends of the floor. And this is kind of conversation might come back for Jokic versus like a Shaquille O'Neal or a Hakeem or any of the other centers. But do you think Jokic just as a player individually is comparable to them still?
I mean, yeah, he does so many things that as
that
much as
they
they
can't
did things
do.
that he can't do, he's doing things that they could never do. I mean, he's passing the ball better than all-time great point guards.
Nah, for sure. So do you think that his defensive liabilities, even though like he's become a much better defender, do you think that
Right.
would ever stop him from getting over Shaquille O'Neal or Hakeem or
I
Kareem,
think
like
I
these
think
other GOAT centers?
I think in some people's minds they would hold that against him to the point where
Yeah,
they wouldn't be able to put him over them.
right.
But
No matter like what he did.
it's not like he's a negative. It's not like he's a negative. He's at the very least an average defender nowadays.
Yeah. And see, my thing too with it is yeah, he's not the greatest defender, but he's proved that he doesn't have to be. Like when you're just
Mhm.
that transcendent on a certain side of the floor, you can produce and win a championship. Like he just proved that. We've seen other people like a Steph Curry isn't a great defender. Magic Johnson was a great defender. These guys also won multiple championships. And then obviously on the flip side, we've seen teams that are really great defensively and not so great offensively and still win championships.
Right.
So when you're just that good on a particular side of the floor, especially with offense, because if you're putting up more points than you're, allowing, then there's really the defense is kind of on the back burner at
Right.
that
And
point because
there's one aspect too that I feel like doesn't get taken into account, but he is so cerebral on the basketball court that he
yeah,
understands everything that's going on. I was watching him on Michael Porter's podcast the other day, and it's an interesting point that he might not be the guy who's defending the other player, but he's the guy who's telling his teammates where to be for their best defense, to be in the best defensive position. And that was one thing that Michael Porter was talking about where Jokic, again, he might not be the guy who's playing defense, but he's telling me, oh, this is the play that's happening. So you got to stand over here and be in
right,
this position. So he's so cerebral that, and it comes down to his own defense as well, that he's not the most athletic. He's not the quickest, but
right.
he's
Not
so
for
smart
sure.
that he might be able to stay ahead of the play.
Yeah, and to your point, like his cerebral ability is why he gets so many deflections. Like why, as a
Right.
center, I think he's like always getting the most steals in that category amongst other centers. He's just always got in those passing lanes, and he's very good at his hand. He's just got quick hands, and also like rebounding is also a part of defense, which people I feel like don't really take into account. Boxing out, getting rebounds. He's probably the best rebounder in the league, or top 2 or 3. So enough cannot be said about Jokic.
Right.
Definitely already an all-time great and just moving up the standings at an insane rate. And speaking of another all-time great, Steph Curry with another vintage performance, 33 points, 8 assists. The Warriors, man, like the big three seems to be coming to an end soon. Like, let's say they lose in the play-in, that's definitely wraps, right? Like they gotta change it up.
I mean, I know Clay didn't get his extension, but he's not getting an extension in Golden State. He's gone because he's looking for the type of money that they're not going to pay him coming off of the bench.
Do you think
But
anybody would pay him that money?
I do.
Really?
I do. I don't know exactly who it is, but somebody
Well,
who's
how much is he worth? Like, how much money do you think he's going to be asking for?
Okay, yeah.
Like,
When
what's
you
he
say
demanding?
that kind of money, he could get a lot more money than I don't want to say a lot. He could get a bigger contract outside of Golden State, I think, because I don't think they're going to overpay him. Already seeing what they did with Draymond last year and how Draymond is out here making Steph Curry cry on the
I
basketball,
know.
making
I
him
mean, but
cry on the court.
no, but we know that Clay won't act up like that at least, because like Draymond is just I don't know where his
No,
head
I
at,
just
man.
mean in the sense that if looking back at it, I don't think that they would necessarily pay Draymond that same money. They probably look to, if they can get him for cheaper, they get him for cheaper or they let him
Yeah.
walk, I think, because I don't think he's worth that money right now. I mean, dude is just
Mm.
still a head case after all this time. You just
Oh
can't
yeah,
deal with it.
Draymond. But you think teams are going to try and trade for him?
For Draymond?
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. The Warriors are locked in now. That's what they have no options with him. He's locked in.
Yeah. You don't think any team would go after him, right?
Not until maybe he's an expiring deal in the last year or two of his extension. I don't
Yeah.
think currently, right? Because what he did he have a 4-year extension or am I
think it was
bugging on that?
yeah. No, I think it might have been 4.
So yeah, I don't
I will
see anybody
double-check.
trying to pick that up this early. If anything, when he's an expiring deal, I think teams will look at him.
Yeah,
But
man.
when you look at Clay, I heard rumblings of Orlando actually being a team that would be willing to offer Clay some big time money. And
Orlando's on the come up too.
right,
That would be
and
cool.
that's a team, especially with Paolo Banchero, that could use a guy that you could spread the shoot the ball out to,
Right.
and have a knockdown shooter there.
No, that'd be cool, man. I just think that, like, yeah, wherever Clay goes, I think he's probably already in that mindset now that, he's definitely not going to be a one. He's not
Right.
probably not even be a two,
Nah.
like wherever he goes. I think at this point he knows that, all right, I could be a third or fourth option now. And even third might be saying a lot, just the way that he's been. I mean, he's had a couple good games here and there, but I don't know. I feel like he's gonna just be reverted now to
Shooter.
just a spot up shooter,
Yep,
really, because
that's
he
it.
can't really defend how he used to.
That's it.
But I mean, he can still give you a game like he did the other night. He's actually on here.
Right.
28 points the other night, hit like 7 threes. So like he can still do that. But it's just not gonna
He
be
can, not consistently though. Or at least hasn't showed us.
yeah, but with the Steph Curry and the Warriors right now, I think that the Warriors need to change, man. I really do. And I think that Steph Curry is still easily a top 10 player in the league, and he can still be competing for championships. And
Right.
I think that unfortunately they may be stuck with Draymond, like you said, but if you can move on from Clay, open up the cap space for the Warriors a little bit, see if they can bring in somebody. I mean, there should be a hot free agent destination. I don't know what the free agency pool is looking like this upcoming offseason. I know a lot of guys are locked in with their teams right now, but I do think that the Warriors could improve for sure. And Andrew Wiggins has also taken a big step back from what he was a couple years ago. So I think that they just need to revamp that roster a little bit. But let's move on to our next guy, Victor Wembanyama. This was against that Warriors that night. He dropped the dominant 32 points, 9 boards, 5 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks. Enough cannot be said about how good this man has been his rookie year. Now, you watched the Jimmy High Roll video from the other day, right?
Yep.
What's your take on his take, man? Because he talked about, Jimmy High Roll said that if he could put everybody in a draft in the history of the league and you're basically drafting off of only seeing their rookie season, nothing else. He's taking Victor Wembanyama over everybody. What do you feel about that?
I mean, come on. We know Jimmy High Roller knows what he's talking about. He's a go-to guy. But it's not crazy. It's not crazy at all.
I don't think it is crazy either, but
you see what he's done. I mean, look at the points Jimmy brought out. He's still on a minutes restriction. He's,
yep.
Just look at that minutes restriction. Look at these numbers he's putting up.
His per 36 is crazy. Like his per 36 is like 26. Matter of fact, I might look it up real quick.
But the biggest thing for Victor is that, I mean, he showed us the type of character he has with the
right.
The reading and the studying, and he's a student of the game, and
I could tell from that interview. Great. Right, I could tell from what was it with JJ Redick. He was just like, he wants it, man. Like he really does. He wants to be great.
And 100%. There's it's one half to want it, and there's other half to have the ability to go get it, and he's got that too. And he showed what kind of leaps he's made in his progression as a player just in this one season.
The rookie season, bro. Like just to go back, right? So per 36 numbers for Victor Wembanyama, 26 a game, 13 boards, 4.5 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks a game. On 47% and 32% from 3. Like that's crazy, man. Like if he wasn't on a minutes restriction, we'd be talking about this guy as a top 10, 15 player in the league right now. Like with those type of numbers.
I was gonna say too, mind this. Like obviously he's not on a great team, but just wait when they build a team around him. When they build a team specifically tailored to his game, it's just gonna be exponentially better. His output on the court. So
right.
He's a unicorn, 1 of 1. Defensively, I mean, you take away his offense, and he is a defensive player of the year candidate.
He should win it already, honestly. But
without even scoring the ball, he's putting up that type of impact on his team. And then you add the scoring to it. I mean, doing off the dribble pull-up 3-pointers. Come on.
This is one of the best rookie years, like rookie campaigns I've seen in a while. I mean, I know Luka obviously had a phenomenal rookie year.
Right.
There's been a lot of good ones, but just what he's done on both ends of the floor, like the impact. Obviously, the Spurs are trash. We know this, but like he's been on a minutes restriction. Like we talked about, like his team a lot of times throughout the year has not even wanted to give this guy the ball.
You don't have a point guard. He didn't
even have a point guard, a consistent one. So yeah, there's Victor Wembanyama is a future GOAT. Like I think the cards on the table for that.
Yeah.
But here's the local schedule. Ton of games on the last week. So we'll look through on Monday. We're gonna go through some of the top performers as well. There's a lot of good games from these local television games as well that maybe not everybody caught, but we're gonna go over them right now. Let's move on to our. Well, actually, let's look through here. I do want to talk about your team, Miami. Tuesday, they lost to the Warriors. You know, did you watch that game? Did you tune in?
Yeah, watch it.
What do you feel about Miami right now? Like, what's your realistic expectation for them into the playoffs?
The thing is, I really don't know. I really don't know because they have still yet to be healthy. We haven't seen Tyler Hero play even with
It's been a minute.
with our brand new lead guard. He's played like maybe 3-4 games with Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
Scary Terry is he's
He's
rounding
hooping.
out.
Hooping.
He's rounding into scary form come playoff
Yeah.
time. He's definitely been a huge pickup for us. I like that. The thing with the Heat though, again, it comes down to them having not been healthy, and the fact that our best player is a playoff guy. He don't care about the regular season, and he has showed us that he doesn't care about the regular season because he's not the same guy. He can come out here or there, but I
Do you
think
wish
it's
that Jimmy would just actually try in the regular season, or like, do you care that he doesn't and just saves it in the playoffs, and then you guys make a conference finals run or get to the finals?
it hurts to watch. It does hurt to watch because you know what he's capable of, and then you
But he just
see
doesn't do
what
it.
he does. But at the same time, if he's saving himself for the playoffs, and if that's what he needs to be playoff Jimmy, give it to him. Take all the time you need because we want you to show up come playoff
Yeah.
time.
It's kind of tough. It's so tough to rank guys like that too about where they really stand in the league because it's like, damn, well, he's not really going to do anything for 82 games that would make me want to put him as like a top 10
Right.
guy. But then come playoffs, he's like arguably the best player in the world. So it's like, where do you really gauge him at? And then another thing could be said with like Jamal Murray. Obviously Kawhi Leonard's been in those conversations, but his was more so due to health because like he's been
Right.
having a great year this year. But for Jimmy Butler, it's tough to really like say where he's at in the league, but we all know Jimmy Butler comes to play come playoff time, and that's just what he does. I mean, the nickname is there for a reason.
Right.
But
I was gonna actually say one other thing I want to touch
uh-huh.
on this list. You see that red R? There's a lot of green numbers below it on this spread here. The
Yes,
Houston
yes,
Rockets
the Rockets,
are on a
the
tear right
Rockets,
now.
man.
I think they actually lost their last game, but prior to that, they were on like an 11
Yeah, they
win
lost to
streak.
Dallas. Yeah, they were on an
Right,
11
right,
game win streak. I got Jalen Green up here. He had a very good. He's been balling throughout the win streak, and he had a great performance that we'll touch on here. But yeah, Houston definitely surprising a lot of people coming up the standings quickly, and they might kick off
the
the
Warriors, I
Warriors
believe. Yep.
Warriors got 2 games on them right now, but the Warriors are also now on a 4-game win streak, so they've been staying alive, trying to stay away from Houston. But it's coming down to the wire. It really is. And Houston, even if they don't get a play-in spot this year, we can now at least start to see that they do have a bright future. Like Jalen Green can actually play organized NBA basketball, and he's been hooping us. Same thing can be said for the rest of the team because a couple years ago we were looking at them like a YMCA team.
I was gonna
And
say one other thing too, which I thought was very, very interesting. I just saw some reports yesterday talking about the Rockets and talking about how they want to probably make a big swing this offseason. And the two players who they had in trade talks were Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun. Now, that doesn't make any sense to me to trade your young guys,
nah,
but I mean,
nah.
they were talking
When was
about
this though? When was this?
days ago, like a few days ago, I saw this.
Nah,
They were
that
talking
would be
about
wild.
I think it was like a Western Conference GM that was talking about it. So maybe it's not the most um, reliable source. I don't really know, but I just thought it was super interesting those names would even come up because it almost seems like it makes zero sense to do that.
No, it makes 0 sense because who are you realistically trading for that you're gonna get where you're gonna get that? If you're gonna trade away your 2 best young players in your entire future, you better get
Not at the
LeBron and
same
Joel
time,
Embiid up
right?
in there or
Not
something
both of
like.
them, but one or the other
No,
as their
even I
trade
don't
piece.
know.
But
Like
yeah, no, it just
I
seemed
don't know. If you're not
strange.
my thing, if you're gonna trade away such a talented guy like that, your return better be like literally a top 10 player, which is not gonna happen. It's
Right,
not.
right.
So I think that's just dumb. But Couple other teams that we can look at on here real quick, so a lot of games on Monday, ton of games on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Sunday had a lot of good games, a lot of great performances. I had like 3 guys on here, top performers from Sunday. So let's start getting into it. Dante DiVincenzo balling out, 40-point game. He's been a lot better than I would have ever expected. He was really good with Golden State as well.
It's them
But
Nova boys.
yeah, those Nova boys all linking up in New York, so it's really cool to see. What's your feeling about the Knicks? I mean, obviously you live in New York. You're around a lot of Knicks fans. Like, what's the chatter like over there?
I just also want to point out 11 for 20. That's a Knicks franchise 3-point record in a single game. Just to put it out there for Dante,
Right.
give him his little hype up.
Right.
But the sentiment here in New York, things are high for the Knicks. People are expecting a lot out of them. It's a big change because years past, people would tell oh, I don't care what the Knicks are doing. They're not doing nothing. How good they might look, what their hopes might be. Nobody was optimistic when it came to the Knicks ever. So to just see the optimism out of Knicks fans is a change of pace for sure.
For sure.
But no, I think the Knicks outside of Boston, I do think the Knicks probably are right up there with anybody else in the East as far as competing to at least get to the conference finals. I think right now they just pushed the Cavs out of the 4 spot or the 3 spot rather. So the Knicks are, I think, the 3 seed as of right now.
They're back down. Right now they're back down.
They're back down.
It's only a 1 game difference though.
Yeah, I know. I think the Knicks. I think the Knicks have probably a better chance than the Cavs.
So let's say, right, if it ends right here, how it is now, the Knicks play the Magic first round. Now, I think that could actually be a pretty entertaining series because that's 2 like dogs on defense, the way that they play. And I think it would be a dogfight series. Like, I would not be surprised if either team came out of that, but I would take the Knicks. But yeah, I feel like New York could be a team that's interesting. Although New York all season has really struggled against the above 500 teams. Against the greatest teams in the league, they've struggled bad. And, obviously that's a recipe for disaster come to playoff time. But I do think they got a lot of talent. Jalen Brunson is amazing, man. He's definitely getting his respects now for sure. But we'll talk about him momentarily. He's definitely on here as well. Let's move on to we were talking about Clay earlier. He had a nice vintage game, 28 points, 5 boards, 2 assists.
Did he start this game or did he come off the bench?
I'm not even sure, honestly. I actually didn't get to tune into this one. But either way, a nice game for Clay. But, we talked about him already. But let's move back on to Jalen Green in the Rockets. 37 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, almost 64% from 3, 7 of them. So Jalen Green is definitely kind of turning the tables on like where he was, how he was viewed amongst like NBA fans. And, can he actually produce and be an impact guy and, a winning type of basketball player? And I think he's been doing that for sure. I mean, he's been leading this team over the last, they went on 11-game win streak with Sengun out as well. So Houston's just been great. I mean, and Jalen Green he had all the talent to be what he's doing right now. I mean, he's uber athletic. He's got a great handle. He could just score the ball at will. And now he's actually doing it at an efficient clip. He could be scary, man. Like his ceiling could definitely be a top, if not the best shooting guard in the league in a few years. Like he's got all the tools.
Yeah, no, the efficiency was really what was holding him back. And, the decision making, the efficiency. One thing as far as the Rockets go that I just think is definitely super underappreciated and not really discussed that much is the Ime Udoka effect.
Oh yeah.
We saw what he was able to do with the Celtics, and we know what kind of player coach he is. Rather that the players really respect him. They like the way he does things, and he just knows basketball clearly because he's what he's doing there. I know they got some veterans in town. A little Dylan Brooks action,
right?
Little Fred VanVleet. But I think a lot of the credits really got to go to Ime, who again just really knows how to get on the same page as his players and get the most out of them.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, no, definitely they got a nice future to look forward to. DeJounte Murray putting up 44 shots to get 44 points. But hey, man, and he hit the game winner.
Game winner.
But I mean, 44 shots, 19 3-pointers. Like, if they don't win this game, are we talking about this
Exactly.
in a different light? Are we talking about
Exactly.
this in a different light?
Exactly.
Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, 44 points, but he took 44 shots, but they still won. So, I mean, if they lose the game, like, what are we talking about this game?
Even if they win the game and he doesn't hit the game winner, I think it's looked at a little different. But once he hit that game winner, people are like, all right, he missed a lot of shots, but he hit the important one, and that's what
Right.
matters.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is a ton of shots. Like, my thing is, because we'll see later too, the Jalen Brunson game, Jalen Brunson actually took a ton of shots as well,
Right.
but he
A little
still
more
shot over
efficient though.
50%.
Right.
Yeah. So my thing is just like, look, if you're gonna take that many shots, at least definitely be like 45% or above.
Yeah.
Because I mean, DeJounte Murray obviously struggled like hitting all his shots, but I mean, he still finished with 44. Obviously, got to the line a lot, and I mean, he hit the game winner. So can't
And
really.
there was no Trae Young, so
And there's no Trae Young, exactly. So you can't really say too much like bad stuff about it. Like, yeah, it's usually this type of game is not going to correlate to winning, but in this case, it did, and it came against Boston.
you see Joe Mazzulla's comments after the game.
I think I did, but like, tell me again what he said.
He's basically like, I don't want to hear nothing about we can't guard DeJounte Murray because he took 44 shots. He's like, well, Jason Tatum did it. You guys were bagging on him, da-da-da. So
yeah,
he's like, I don't want to hear nothing about we can't guard this guy because he took 44 shots.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
44.
It's a little bit of a point. It's kind of like when Russ told Pat Bev, like, oh, I got 40 on you. And Pat Bev's like, you took 40 shots. So, like,
right.
But let's move on to Jalen Brunson. So obviously, again, 47 shots, definitely the most he's ever taken in a single game, but he hit 25 of them, shot 53%, dropped 61 points, and a thriller against San Antonio because they were down big this game, right? They were down like 19 points. They come back and win this game, and phenomenal.
They lost, didn't they? They lost this game, I think. They came back, but they lost it, I believe. Yeah, the Spurs. This is Wemby's 40-point game.
Okay, they did lose this
40-20.
Yeah, so they came
I was
back
gonna say it was a shame that he couldn't pull that out because it's not a Knicks franchise record, I don't believe, right?
The 61?
61?
No, because
I believe Melo had more.
Melo has 62, I think.
Yeah,
I don't think that was in the Garden. No, that was in the Garden. He had 62 in the Garden. He did. But yeah, I think that's the franchise record for a single game. So he was close, but I'm sure Brunson, he got plenty of time to maybe pass that. But yeah, phenomenal performance from him. Where is Jalen Brunson right now for you, and as far as point guards go?
Point guards go.
How many are you taking before him?
That's a tough one. I don't even know. I mean, off top, without even thinking about who I'm putting in front of him, he's probably top 5.
Oh yeah, I probably would have to say top 5. I'm thinking off top. So let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna say so. Like, obviously, you taking Steph?
Taking Steph over him.
Taking Luka.
Taking Luka. If you consider Luka point guard, I'm definitely taking
Luka. Point. Luka
definitely taking Luka.
Yeah. Taking Luka. All right, and then who else we got? So, I guess a couple other guys. Wait, Shay's a point guard.
Right I'm taking Shea over him.
Taking Shea right now. Okay, and then what about Ja Morant?
It's tough because, like,
I mean, I don't
want to suffer. I don't want to suffer from recency bias because I know what Ja's capable of. But as of right now, I'm gonna give it to Jalen Brunson up until Ja comes back and proves me wrong.
Yeah, I'm probably on the same boat. And then you taking JB over Trey?
Taking him over Trey.
Taking him over Kyrie?
I'm taking him over Kyrie.
Taking him over Dame?
I'm taking him over Dame, yeah. Because of his consistency, man.
Right.
Like those guys, especially Kyrie and Dame, they're still obviously incredible, but they don't get it done every single night.
Nah, for sure. I think that Jalen Brunson too, like, just showed out in the playoffs last year, and I don't think that Kyrie or Dame have had a playoff performance like that in years. Like, the last great one that Damian Lillard had was 2019 against Denver was like his last.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's a couple in the bubble, but like those are like a few of the last really good ones. And then Kyrie's been up and down as well. Like, he didn't have great playoff series in Boston. He struggled a lot in Brooklyn, and then now they didn't make it last year, but we'll see what happens this year. But let's move on to our next performer, Wemby, on the list again. What a dominant 40 and 27 assists, 60% from the floor, 44 from three. I mean, the
Pulled out that depth.
7'4" Frenchman that can do everything. He is just a unicorn. I mean, we talked a lot about him,
Right.
but I'm just truly excited to see the level that this guy can get to because he is just dominant. Like he is phenomenal. I thought he was going to be good, but he has so far exceeded any
For
expectations that I
sure.
would have thought he had. Because like coming in, I said, oh yeah, I think he could probably average. I said he was going to average like 18 and 20, along with like 8, 9 boards, probably a couple blocks. And I mean, he's doing that and then some. So I mean, the guy is phenomenal. He really is.
And I was gonna say, I think the thing that for me that was so shocking is really the defensive impact. Come back to it, like he is a generational defensive player. Just his intangibles, the stocks that he's averaging. I mean, the numbers that he puts up on that end, it's really crazy. It's really crazy. So his offense isn't there. The defense is going to be there every night for him.
Oh, every time. Yeah, even that's the type of player he is. Even if he's not knocking that shot down, he's going to be knocking some shots out the gym, like when he blocks people. But Luka with an MVP type performance, 47 points, 12 boards, 7 assists, and they went on to win this game. And he goes on an efficient 60%. I mean, we raved about Luka already here. Just another performance from him. He's done this all season.
Right,
He's
and
proven
all that
why he's
to put an axe to the Rockets' little win streak they had going on.
And then he made that ridiculous underhand shot from three. I mean, if there was a horse competition, Luka's winning like by far. He's sweeping the whole competition. Did you see that shot he hit like off the scoreboard in the pregame?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro. Like he's ridiculous, man. He really is. And then LeBron with man, I went back, right? Because I wanted to watch the highlights again, just like him scoring. I'm like, this guy is 39. Like, I don't know. I know we talk about it all the time. Oh, he's 39, but like, we really just have to come to grasp of what he's doing, like, and just appreciate this. Because I know that I definitely have been critical on LeBron at certain points, and I still am. But
as a Laker fan,
and some of the things that he's done throughout his career, I was not the biggest fan of. But him as a player, like, I think people get too emotional and too caught up in all that. We just got to appreciate how good this guy is. Like 39 years old, he's still doing this. I mean, he set the record like 102 true shooting percentage in this game. How do you get that? Like, how do you shoot over 100%? It's just, he was phenomenal. I mean, the way that he has progressed just from the 3-point line too. I mean, career high for 3 this year. Right. Yeah, he's. I mean, he
that's tied his career makes too, right? 9 in a game.
Yeah, I mean,
career high makes or tied his career high.
Like he is ridiculous, man. Because at 39 years old,
I was gonna say, and at 39 years old, the comments keep on coming and coming post game with LeBron. How much more time you have left? And he just said it. I think it was last night that he said, I don't know what it is, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot.
Nice.
And as much as people want to hate on this guy, I think collectively NBA fandom is going to be heartbroken when he finally calls it quits.
Yeah, his farewell tour is going to be ridiculous, man. It really is. It's going to be crazy. Like, Kobe's was crazy. LeBron's is going to be even crazier. Like, it really is. Because just how long he's been great for. And, I mean, the NBA is going to be different. I think the NBA is really going to struggle to find the next face that is like a LeBron James because obviously he doesn't come around. He's 101. Like, it's a once in a lifetime type of player. So, and it's been pretty cool to be able to say that I witnessed like his entire career pan out. Yeah. So it is really dope. So, I mean, to be able to say that I saw arguably, if not the greatest player to ever live, is pretty cool, man. So LeBron James, appreciative of the greatness, but we're going to move on to our next performer. Paul George had himself a great game. This is Brandon Miller's GOAT. Brandon Miller and him swapped jersey at the end of the game. Paul George, he said, I got to show off for my dude. That's why, he thinks I'm the GOAT. I got to go have a GOAT performance. He drops 41, 8 threes and efficient from the floor. PG has always been somebody that I really thought did have the talent to be one of the greatest players of all time. But unfortunately, between whether it was injuries or just not really showing up, in the biggest moments. But Paul George, from a player standpoint, he's definitely up there. Like, I mean, he can do everything on the floor. He's just,
Right.
he really is fun to watch. Like, he's just so aesthetically pleasing.
Now there's a reason that why there was a couple of the younger generation that say PG is their GOAT. And it's because
Yeah.
he just
He's
makes
got that
everything look
perfect
so
like
easy.
2K build, bro. Like, I'm like, my
Yeah,
guy
for
like
sure.
6'10",
For
he gonna be able to
sure.
shoot it for 35 feet out. Like, he got the handle. Nah, like, yeah,
The
PG.
game, his game is just pretty.
No, for sure. So now that we've gone through all our top performers, let's run through this real quick. We got the NBA playoff bracket right now. So, Austin, I want your prediction. How is this going to go out? Run it down real quick. Let's start over in the Western Conference. We got the Lakers versus the Warriors. Who are you taking in that playing game?
I'm taking the Lakers for sure.
Taking the Lakers
I'm taking the
again?
Lakers
Yes,
for
sir.
sure.
We know. Yeah, Lakers. Okay, so then let's say Lakers go on. The Warriors drop down. And who do they play between the Suns and Kings? Who's coming out with that
Uh,
one?
they play that man Kevin Durant and Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix Suns winning that game?
Yeah, no, I don't. I do think that. I mean, again, it's the play-in. It's one game.
It's
Anything
one
can
game.
happen.
One game.
Which is why I think Kevin Durant will put up 45, 50 points, do whatever he got to do. He's going to get them into the play-in.
Or into the playoffs, and then have to get swept by Denver first round.
Now
they will play.
They
okay,
really
so
might
let's
lose to
say that the
Warriors.
Suns win.
But yeah, no, I do think
wait,
the Suns. I think the Suns will beat the Warriors as well. I just think that Steph Curry, man, he's just fed up. He's fed up this year. He's finally reached his breaking point.
You think that the Warriors missed the playoffs and generally think they just fall out this play-in tournament?
I mean, they're the 10th seed right now. They could.
No, but they really could. But I'm saying, like, when they're in there, like, let's say they lose to the Lakers. I think they do lose to the Lakers. Are they going to lose to either the Kings or the Suns?
Wait a second. Do they get in? Do they get another chance?
Yeah, if they lose to the Lakers. No, wait, no, they're done.
9-10. Yeah, the 9-10, the loser gets out, and then the winner plays the winner of the 7-8.
Yeah, so the Lakers,
the Warriors will be
gonzo.
Yeah, the Lakers will be playing the Suns.
Win. Yeah, so then the Warriors really about to miss playoffs. Tragic. Well, we're gonna see what happens. So let's say after this, right? The Lakers play. So we're saying that the Lakers match up with the Suns. Who are you taking in that?
I'm taking the Lakers still. I really, as bad as the Lakers have been this season, just flat out, I do still hold a little bit of hope that they could really make some noise in the playoffs, just like they did last year.
Well, I will say, if the Thunder hold that 1 seed, I do think the Lakers can go in there and beat them. Yeah, I really do.
For sure.
If they had Denver, if Denver gets the 1st seed, they're done. They're losing first round.
I mean, to be honest with you, that's the only team that the Lakers, I think, have to avoid if they want to make a playoff run.
Right. They have no answer.
If you can avoid
Jokic
the Nuggets
and Jamal Murray,
they could really get back to the conference finals. I don't see.
But the thing is like, if they get back to the conference finals, it's like you're probably just going to end up playing Denver again, unless somebody somehow takes them out before then, which I just find unlikely.
If you could have, that's the thing. If they meet up with Denver, and you could have Anthony Davis playing top 5 NBA player Anthony Davis basketball,
yeah.
They can. I mean, if anybody could match up, he's one of those guys that can match up with.
It's just we haven't really seen it yet. I mean, he was going back at Jokic, but I mean, Jokic, when you're hitting shots over the head from 30 feet away, it's like off 1 foot. How are you supposed to defend that? You can't do nothing about that. But so let's say the Lakers match up with the Thunder, right? And then Suns go on to
lose to the Nuggets.
Right, so now we move on. But what about the let's move over to the East player real quick before we go all the way down to West bracket. Bulls and Hawks. Who do you think wins that?
I'd have to say I mean, the Hawks have been they've been a little better lately. They've been kind of rounding into form a bit, where the Bulls are just still in no man's land. So I would take the Hawks over the Bulls right now.
Okay. Take the Hawks there. The Hawks move on. Then that means that the Bulls, they drop out there, right?
Bulls would drop out, yeah.
Yeah, Bulls would drop out. And then the Heat and 76ers, if Joel Embiid is back, how do you feel about that? I mean, he probably still might not be like 100%.
Right, if we did catch them, which to be honest, I think that we knocked the Pacers out of the 6th spot. I mean, I hope we knock the Pacers out of the 6th spot. I don't want to be back in that play-in.
Yeah.
But if we did catch them, we'd be catching Joel Embiid, trying to knock the rust off a bit.
Right.
So, and plus they've been on a little bit of a skid lately. I think they lost more than they won in their last 10. Put it that way.
Right.
So I really like the Heat.
I like the Heat in
against
that.
them.
I think even if Joel Embiid does come back, I mean, you're rushing him, not rushing him back, but he's coming back like right when the play-in starts,
Right.
playoff. Like all these teams
First
are in
game
form.
could be in the playoff.
He hasn't played since when? January or something like that.
Yeah,
it's been months. So that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough for him to come back. And then on top of that, Miami is one of the better teams to defend him. Like Bam I know Bam is undersized, but he could still do well with it because Joel Embiid likes to float around the elbow, like kind of mid-range. Like Bam is a really good defender to put him out there for that type of defense. Like when he gets down the block, though, I think he's definitely too small. But if they keep him up there, and then I already know that Miami's going to send constant doubles, triples on him, force him to pass out. So it's going to be tough for him. But I like Miami in that, and I think that Philly would go on. I think that they would beat either the Hawks or the Bulls, though, if Joel Embiid is back at least.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they beat either of them. Sure. And then, their arch nemesis, they're going to have to see Boston, and they're going to lose that. So, that would be rough. But they see Boston, most likely they're taking an L on that. Miami, though, Milwaukee does not want to see Miami first round.
No.
Under any circumstances. All I know is that, hey, Milwaukee for real might want to drop a couple games, let Cleveland get in there. Because that is not they really might be a repeat of last year. They got to face Miami in the first round. I'm not even joking. It's to that level. Miami has their number. They just really do. They do.
Spoelstra just puts together a great game plan to slow Giannis down.
And again, Bam is just a phenomenal defender for Giannis. Sure, like he just really the versatility from Bam. Like he can keep up with him. He can match with him down low on the block. I mean, Giannis is still bigger and stronger than him. But the way that Bam is able to slide his feet with anybody, and then like he still has the strength to bang with him down low. I mean, he's just so versatile. So, man, I don't like that for Milwaukee at all. That's gonna be if Jimmy Butler has a repeat of last year.
Never mind the fact that they got rid of depth. Milwaukee did, and now grabbed a guy in Dame Lillard, who is not going to help you guarding any of Miami's scoring guards.
I will say Dame was D'ing up the other night, the last couple of nights, though. He was locking up a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But
he can try as hard as he wants. He's not going to
expect him to do that like every night. No. But I will say who's going to be the guy to check Dame now, though, from Miami? You going to put Jimmy on him?
No, definitely not. But I mean, even if we put Scary Terry on him, not that he's going to lock him up, but at least I would hope he negates the offensive firepower on the other side.
Right. For sure. So let's go back to Thunder Lakers. You taking the Lakers upsetting the Thunder if that's what happens? Back over here in the West.
I don't know if I want to take the Lakers. I think the Lakers have a chance. I think the Lakers. Again, I think the Lakers can. This is the thing about the Western Conference. Outside of the Nuggets, anybody could beat anybody. 1 through 10, I don't care who it is. Anybody could beat anybody out in the West.
Right.
And that's why, especially too, you look at like the Mavericks. As good as all the teams are on an even playing field, so you got to look at the top end star power. And I'm taking Luka Doncic over almost anybody over there outside of Jokic. So that's why, like in the West, it's coming down to the top end star power to me because every team, they really do. I think every team really has a chance to compete for something out there.
I think any one of these besides I think Denver handles Phoenix, like without a doubt. But I think every other one is going to be a pretty good series and it's going to be close. Right. But, I am a Lakers fan, so I'm going to ride with the Lakers here, obviously. I think that they would end up beating the young OKC, yes, exactly. The young, inexperienced OKC team, where the Lakers obviously have a lot of playoff experience with LeBron and AD and some other cats. But I think I'm gonna take the Lakers advancing, go to second round, and then I think that the Mavericks pull it out this year. I do, even though the Clippers have been looking good, over the last month or so. But I think that the Mavericks could finally do it this year with the rest of the team that was acquired over there. Luka now's got some better help, some better shooters around him, and he's got Kyrie. So I'm gonna take Dallas, and then the Timberwolves and Pelicans is tough though. I really don't know. I feel like that can go either way, but I'll take the Timberwolves. And then Nuggets. So then I got the Nuggets playing the Timberwolves. Nuggets win that. They go to Western Conference Finals. And then I think, I'm going to pick the Lakers out of bias, but I don't know. That boy Luka is cold.
And I mean, I just reverting back to the Nuggets T-Wolves conversation, if that's who they have to meet in the following round. The Timberwolves gave the Nuggets the hardest time of any team last playoffs.
Yeah, they did.
So if the Lakers, saying that they move forward and they get themselves into this,
and they get to the conference
if they get to see the Nuggets, if there's any team you want to have played them the round prior, it's probably the T-Wolves to bang them up. They have the size to match up with them. So I do think that if they're going to see anybody, that works in the Lakers' favor for them to be in the same bracket as the T-Wolves.
Nah, for sure. So, yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think that ultimately, though, I have Denver going to the finals. Over on the Eastern side, if the Bucks and Miami match up again, I for real might take Miami. I'm not, especially with Spo versus Doc in a head-to-head coaching matchup. I might just take Miami. I'm not even gonna lie. And the Bucks go out in the first round again.
If the Bucks go up 3-1, I'm still taking Miami.
Oh man.
But
yeah, so I'm just gonna I'm taking Miami in that matchup, and then Cavs Pacers is tough, but I'm gonna take the Cavs, and then I got Miami versus Cleveland. I'm gonna take Miami again.
Yeah, good
and
choice.
Then I got Knicks beating Magic, and then Celtics, and then the Celtics Heat matchup again in the Eastern Conference Finals. Is Miami going back?
Similar to the T-Wolves and the Nuggets too.
No.
If I want the Celtics playing anybody before they got to play us, it's the New York Knicks, because those dudes are going to bang them up a bit.
Yeah,
just like them Celtics had to see us after the Knicks destroyed Jimmy's ankle. Yeah, they hurt him. He went in not full steam. So yeah, if there's any team, it's the Knicks that I want to see in the Celtics. Let them bang them up.
So I don't know. I think I could see Boston, Miami in the conference finals again, but I realistically though, I don't know if Miami's gonna be able to pull out it again with Boston, especially like adding the extra pieces that they did. So I'd say Boston's probably still gonna go to the finals, and I think it's gonna be Denver versus Boston, and I'm taking Denver.
Yeah, I'm also taking Denver.
I'm taking Denver. And Jokic is going to go on to solidify himself as like a top 15 guy minimum.
But I still, up until it happens, I still just can't put full faith in the Celtics to show up every round, every game, and get it done. I think they're gonna kind of coast through the East. But if we were to put this Celtics team in the Western Conference bracket up to the, leading up to the finals, I don't think people will be as surefire about the Celtics in the Western Conference as they are in the East. Although, again, they're, head over heels the best team in the East right now. And arguably, even looking at the record, the best team in the league right now, stat-wise. I still, not until it happens, I'm not putting full faith in the Celtics.
Yeah, Boston's one of those teams that we're viewing them as not phony, but like we don't fully believe in them yet because we've seen them in these situations so many times, and they just have not capitalized yet. Exactly. So until they get that monkey off their back and they prove that they win this championship, I feel like they're never going to be taken seriously. Which I mean, it makes sense because if you're just always in these like top positions and you never win, obviously you're going to get looked at as kind of phony. Right. But, I think that we'll do it. The next slide is really just the standings again, kind of recapping that. But we kind of just broke down the whole playoffs. Now, I mean, that's the week 23 recap. it's been a phenomenal week of basketball. Really, the whole season's just been fun to watch. Now, we're moving in closer to this playoff spot. Austin, um, before we end this here, you say you're taking Denver. That's who you got winning the NBA championship.
I'm taking Denver. Yeah, man. I'm taking
All right.
Denver.
And you got Miami facing them? You got Boston facing them? No bias. No bias.
No
Like, you're real.
bias. No bias. Yeah, the Celtics and
Okay.
Denver are
Okay.
gonna meet in the finals.
All right. Word. All right. So yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. But hey, so appreciate y'all listening in, and stay tuned for the recap for next week's when we get back into this. But drop your comments down below who you got winning the NBA championship, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Peace.